My name is Xu Yu, and I'm 26 years old. I work as a planner at an ordinary advertising agency. My life has been pretty unremarkable. Until 3 months ago, when I suddenly had the idea to sponsor a financially disadvantaged college student. His name is Xian HES 22 and a junior in college, in the profile photo. His features are cool and aloof, exuding a kind of fragile beauty like a large dog abandoned on a rainy night, as I read his bio, which described how both his parents had passed away and how he was surviving on scholarships. My heart instantly melted. The funding process went smoothly. I sent him his living expenses on time every month and occasionally messaged him to check in. We maintained a safe, respectful distance between us. Then, late one night, my phone suddenly started vibrating wildly. At 1 a.m., Xiang sent me a WeChat voice message. I hesitated for a moment, then clicked on it. What came through wasn't text. It was a muffled sob, followed immediately by the boy's broken voice. Sister. My heart instantly leapt into my throat. Oi, Xiang? What's wrong? What happened? I typed back urgently. Almost instantly, he sent another message, this time in text, and followed it with a teary -ID emoji. I'm sick. I stared at the screen, couldn't help but frown, and quickly tapped it with my fingertips. Wrong. Is it serious? Do you need money? Just tell me, I'll call you right now. Or are you too scared to go to the hospital yourself? If you're afraid, I'll go with you tomorrow. As a sponsor, I feel I've done everything within my power to fulfill my responsibilities and obligations. However, the other person's reply completely took me by surprise. Sis, I think I've developed skin hunger. She sobbed. I'm getting so awful right now. Skin hunger. My mind was filled with question marks. Was this some new deadly disease? I immediately opened my browser and started searching. The results showed that it's actually a psychological need. Patients have an intense desire for physical contact with others. A lack of hugs can lead to anxiety, depression, and even physical pain. I was half skeptical, but I still replied, then get changed, and I'll take you to the hospital for a checkup. I've never heard of this condition. It might be pretty tricky. Sister, I don't want to go to the hospital. Can I just come over to your place for a little while? Just for a short while, I'll feel better soon. Yes. This isn't really appropriate, is it? As I looked out the window at the pitch-black night, my heart began to flutter with unease. All right, then I'll pick you up. In the end, I still called it bring myself to refuse a patient. By the time Xiang arrived at the school gate, it was already 10:30 p.m. The early autumn night breeze carried a chill, and I saw him standing under the street twide, wearing a thin white shirt. His figure was tall and upright. He was no longer the inexperienced high-schooler in the photo. After 3 years apart, he'd grown considerably taller. His shoulders broadened, his jawline sharply defined as if chiseled by a knife. When he saw me, his eyes lit up, and his usually cool brows and eyes instantly softened with a smile. Sister, open the door. What are you thinking about? He tapped on the car window. His voice was crisp and pleasant to hear. I came to my senses and unlocked the car door. Xiang pulled open the door and got in, carrying a faint scent of soapberry on her person. Let me drive, sis. You look like you're not in great shape. I'm afraid we might end up dying together if we're not careful, he said, fastening his seatbelt while gazing at me with those gorgeous peach-colored eyes, his tone laced with a hint of teasing and genuine concern. I couldn't help but chuckle, and the slight embarrassment and nervousness in my heart instantly faded by more than half. All right, you drive. Can you even drive when you're sick? Xiang pouted slightly, looking a bit hurt. Sister, I just have skin thirst. My hands and feet are broken, you know. He handed me his phone, which displayed the encyclopedia entry he'd just searched for skin hunger. It didn't seem like a big deal at all. Apparently, all it takes is more hugs. I breathed a sigh of relief, got out of the car, and handed him the driver's seat. When I got to my place, I immediately collapsed onto the sofa, too exhausted to move a muscle. Xiang, I've got something to tell you. There's no extra room in the house anymore, so you'll just have to sleep on the sofa. Shi Yang's lips immediately drooped, and he mumbled an unwilling hum, looking just like a little dog that had been abandoned. Sister, aren't you even going to ask how my illness is treated? He leaned in and sat down on the single sofa next to me, staring at me eagerly. I rubbed my brow. How would I know? I'm not a doctor after all. I know. It's simple. My older sister can help me heal, he said, his eyes sparkling with a strange kind of anticipation. How do I treat it? As long as you hug me and hold my hand every day. That'll be enough. His voice grew softer and softer, his ears faintly flushed red. He looked pure and innocent. My mouth twitched, and I asked in disbelief, Are you sure you're not just pulling my leg? Is this illness really that easy to cure? Xian nodded firmly, her eyelashes drooping and her hair falling loosely over her face, giving her an utterly helpless look. She practically resembled a little puppy waiting to be fed. Sister, you don't want to. Oh, whatever anyway. Giving him a hug or giving him a little pull won't hurt. After all, Shi Yang is really good minus looking. Late at night, there's not much he as a patient could possibly get up to anyway. I nodded and said, all right, no problem. I'm willing to go all out for the sake of getting well. Perhaps Shi Yang hadn't expected me to agree so readily. When he heard that it said yes, his eyes sparkled like stars, bright and glistening, as if they were filled with the entire Milky Way. The next second, he sat down right beside me, staring straight at me, just like a large dog fixated on a bone. Ew. Are you having a flare minus up right now? His gaze made me feel a bit uneasy. He nodded honestly and reached out to clutch his chest. It's really uncomfortable. Sister, I need you to touch it. I took a deep breath and reached out to touch his face. His skin was soft and tender. Its texture was astonishingly smooth, and I just wanted to kiss it. What am I thinking? At 11 p.m. After I finished taking a shower, I was lying in the bedroom, scrolling through my phone and just about to go to bed. At that moment, the bathroom door opened. Shi Yang came out after finishing her shower. My breath froze in an instant. The man was wearing nothing but a bath towel loosely draped around his hips, hanging so loosely that it looked as if it might slip off at any moment. His upper body was powerfully built, with perfectly defined 8-pack, ABS and sharply outlined, subtly visible mermaid line. Beads of glistening water trickled down his tanned skin, refracting a seductive sheen under the lights. As he wiped his hair, he walked toward me. I stared straight ahead, swallowing hard. Deep down, I reminded myself not to look at something inappropriate and quickly tried to avert my gaze. But, though my mind told me to look away, my eyes stubbornly remained fixed on his alluring abdominal muscles, unable to tear themselves away. A blush suddenly rose on Shi Yang's face, and her eyes sparkled with embarrassed confusion. Sister, I think I forgot to bring any change of clothes. I stifled the yellow garbage in my mind and quickly got up. It's fine. You'll go downstairs and buy you some clothes. Just as I was about to head out, Shi Yang grabbed my arm and stammered. Remember, buy me some underwear. My face instantly turned red, looking like a cooked shrimp. Great. Great, I said, pushing his hand away and fleeing in a panic down to the ground floor to buy something. Only when I ran to the convenience store at the entrance of the residential complex did I realize it was late at night and many stores were already closed. I can only go to the convenience store to buy it. Looking at the dazzling array of men's underwear in front of me, I suddenly found myself at a loss. He hadn't even told me what size he was. Blushing, I casually picked the size that looked best to me, based on his build, and bought it. As soon as I pushed the door open upon returning home, I was met with a scene that made my nose bleed profusely. Shi Yang sat naked on the sofa. Shi Yang, why aren't you even wrapping a towel around yourself? I screamed, quickly covering my eyes, but the gap between my fingers was wide open. Shi Yang hurriedly said, No, sister, I've got it wrapped up. You've got the wrong idea. It just lowered my hand and handed him the things it just bought. It's too late to go out without any clothes. I got you. Your underwear. I'm going to fetch my own clothes for you. You can wear these in the meantime. When Shi Yang took it, his slender fingers brushed against the back of my hand, sending a shiver through my entire body like a sudden electric shock. Wow. That was intense. Then why are you blushing, sister? Shi Yang curled his lips into a mischievous smile, his eyes burning with intensity as he stared at me. My face flushed with embarrassment, and I stammered. I just ran back because I didn't want you to worry. It's really hot, you see. Shi Yang smiled and thoughtfully adjusted the air conditioner to 20 degrees for me. That way you won't feel hot, sister. Since the other bathroom at home was broken, Shi Yang had no choice but to use the master bedroom's bathroom to shower and change clothes. Hearing the splashing sound coming from inside, my eyes couldn't help but glance over there, trying to catch a glimpse of something inappropriate for children. At that moment, Chie's cry for help came from the bathroom, sister. I can't get your clothes off. He hurriedly walked in. Seeing my clothes stretched tight on him, fitting like a snug children's outfit over his strong chest and abdominal muscles, scene was utterly hilarious. I couldn't help but burst out laughing. Xiang, you're just so funny. Xiang looked at me with a face full of wronged feelings, pouting as she muttered, "You're still laughing at me. If it weren't for not wanting to rip your clothes, I'd have taken them off already." I patted him on the shoulder and assured him, "Leave it to me. It'll help you get out of it." I started rescuing the garment, and of course, removing clothes inevitably involves some physical contact. I told him to crouch down so I could pull the clothes off his head, but my hands couldn't help but touch those gleaming 6- back ABS. "The feel is really great," I exclaimed instinctively. Shi Yang leaned closer to me, her warm breath curling around my cheek, her voice tinged with a hint of seduction. "Sister, do you want to touch as much as you like?" I unconsciously nodded, tempted by it. He took my hand and placed it on his abdominal muscles, gently kneading them with just the right amount of pressure. Yang stared straight at me, her eyes shimmering with a faint blush, and her breathing began to grow erratic. At that moment, I felt something running out of my nose. I reached out and touched it. "No, it's a nosebleed." "Ah, I'm bleeding from the nose," I screamed as I reached for some tissue. Shi Yang quickly grabbed a piece of paper and wiped the nosebleed for me, saying helplessly, "Sister, are you an idiot?" The next day, Shi Yang still had class, so I took him back to school. As he was leaving, he leaned down and kissed me gently, then said, "Healing requires it." I couldn't help but let out a curse, "You little brat." When I got to the office, Xiao Li, a colleague who's pretty close to me, walked over with a big, radiant smile. "Shu Yu, what did you do yesterday? You look completely drained." As soon as she said that, the heart that had just begun to calm down was once again stirred by emotions that were hard to describe. I smiled and said, "Of course, it's worth 1,000 gold pieces for a single spring night." Her face was full of teasing. "Oh my goodness, oh my goodness." "Little puppy finally managed to take you down." I gave her a wink. "It's something you just have to understand without putting it into words." She nodded and gave me a big thumbs up. Back at my desk, I picked up my phone and saw a bunch of messages from Shi Yang. "Sister, I've arrived at the dorm. Sister was so cute last night. I just wanted to kiss her. Sister, can I still come over to your place tonight? I'd like to live with you from now on. Would that be okay? If you don't reply to me, I'll take it as your consent." My lips curved upward involuntarily after finishing reading. "I'm typing a reply. Just look at the ABS and you'll agree." Next, a video call came through. I was so startled that I glanced around to see if anyone was nearby. Only after confirming that no one was there did I finally answer the call. Shi Yang let out a soft chuckle, then casually pulled off the top she was wearing, revealing her sexy, well-defined 8- ABS and strikingly alluring hip dips. I opened my eyes wide, my mouth slightly agape. Even though I'd already seen this scene yesterday, I was still utterly stunned by what was unfolding before me, and without any trace of composure, swallowed hard. "Sister, are you satisfied with the view? You let me live with you." And I'll rub your back for you every single day, how about that? Just for this one sentence. I immediately agreed. No problem, just pack up your things. I'll pick you up after class and take you home. It's not for any other reason, it's because of your illness. I'm doing this all for your sake to help you get well. Chiang smiled fondly. That's right. Sister is only thinking about my illness. In the evening, I drove to Shiyang's school and immediately spotted him in the crowd, dressed in a simple white t-shirt and jeans. He still couldn't help but exude irresistible charm. His tall, upright figure stood out conspicuously among the crowd. I rolled down the car window, and when he saw me, his eyes lit up. He immediately darted over like a little sparrow. Sister. He bent down and leaned against the car window, his tone tinged with a hint of resentment and cuteness. Why are you only just here? I've been waiting for you so long. His pitiful little expression made me laugh, and I couldn't help reaching out to ruffle his hair. Sorry. There was a bit of traffic on the way. Did you get worried waiting? Are you hungry? He shook his head. Yet his gaze remained fixed on me, like a large dog, his eyes filled with dependence and adoration. Sister, you look so beautiful today, he said softly, his tone so sincere it left no room for doubt. I felt a bit embarrassed by his praise and cleared my throat lightly. All right, let's get in the car first. What do you feel like eating today? I'm treating you to a hot pot. Great. He halfway pulled open the car door and climbed in, looking just like a child who'd just gotten the candy. When we arrived at the hot pot restaurant, I ordered a table full of dishes and couldn't resist ordering a few bottles of beer as well. Jiang, want a drink? I shook the bottle of liquor in my hand and asked him with a smile. He shook his head and said obediently, Sister, if you're going to drink, someone has to drive, so pass. I paused for a moment, then laughed and said, It's okay, just call a designated driver. Great. He nodded, a faint smile playing on his lips, his eyes clear and bright. But I didn't expect him to have such a poor alcohol tolerance. After just one sip, his face turned as red as a ripe apple, and his eyes began to blur and lose focus. He looked at me through hazy, drunken eyes and suddenly reached out to take my hand. His voice was serious yet filled with deep affection. Sister, do you know? Actually, my heart skipped a beat, and I felt strangely nervous. What did you say? He paused for a moment, his gaze distant and his voice low. Actually, I've liked you ever since I was really little. I was stunned. I can't believe I don't remember knowing him when I was a kid. He continued, his tone tinged with a hint of resentment and sadness. For all these years, I've been searching for you, but I just can't find you. I have absolutely no idea how to react. He squeezed my hand tightly, his eyes reddening and his voice choked with emotion. Sister, I'm sorry, I'll never leave you again. Seeing him like this made me feel so heartbroken. He my arms, holding me tightly, his voice muffled as he said, Sister, I like you. Really like you. You can't date anyone else. I called a designated driver and shoved the unconscious, heavily intoxicated Xiyang into the car. Sister, he mumbled drowsily, his words coming out haltingly, yet each one sent a wave of warmth coursing through my heart. I couldn't help but laugh and reached out to ruffle his hair. Are you being silly or what? When I got home, I struggled to pull him out of the car. He was completely slumped against me, like a giant stuffed toy. After much effort, I finally got him onto the sofa, but suddenly he started struggling, making whimpering sounds with his mouth. Sister, don't go, don't leave me behind, he cried like a child who'd been abandoned, and my heart melted into a puddle. I quickly pulled him close and comforted him again and again. I'm not leaving, Sister isn't leaving. Be good now, it's okay. But suddenly, he pushed me away, his gaze unfocused and his cheeks flushed with an unnatural redness. Hurt. So hurt. As he spoke, he began tearing at his own clothes. Buttons popped open, revealing his pale chest. Before I could even react, Hed already pulled off his t-shirt and tossed it onto the floor. Chiang, what are you doing? I exclaimed, trying to stop him. I stared blankly at the scene before me, my mind completely empty. He stood before me with his upper body bare, his gaze hazy yet irresistibly captivating. The next second, he suddenly lunged at me and pinned me down onto the sofa. Sister. His voice was hoarse, his breath hot as it brushed against my ear. Before I could even react, his lips were already pressed against mine. His kiss carried a strong scent of alcohol, yet it was surprisingly gentle, almost as if he were reading me like a precious treasure. I felt dizzy from his kiss, and my body instinctively began to respond to him. His hands roamed restlessly over my body, carrying a fiery warmth that ignited a long-minus dormant desire within me. I felt his body responding, and my cheeks instantly flushed even hotter. He suddenly stopped, his gaze distant as he looked at me, his voice hoarse. Sister, is it okay? His question brought me back to my senses, and my heart gave a sudden jolt. I took a deep breath, then took the initiative to kiss his lips, using my actions to speak for me. He paused for a moment, then his eyes suddenly lit up with surprise and delight. He responded to my kiss even more passionately, as if he were pouring all his love into a single kiss. The temperature in the room is rising steadily, and an ambiguous atmosphere is spreading through the air. We're like two intertwined vines, leaning on each other, drawing from each other until we're utterly exhausted. Outside the window, the night is deepening. In the room, the springtime radiates boundless beauty. My cheeks were terribly itchy, and I struggled to open my eyes. In the hazy vision, Shi Yang's handsome face loomed large. He was lowering his gaze to kiss my face, his soft lips gently and cautiously probing. The memories of last night flooded back in an instant, and I suddenly came to my senses, pushing him away with all my might. Sister, do you not recognize people once you've fallen asleep? Shi Yang's head drooped weakly, her voice filled with resentment, just like a big dog that's been abandoned by its owner. I quickly explained, no, I was just startled. Hearing this, he suddenly flipped over and pinned her down, his voice hoarse from the early morning, his eyes gleaming with a dangerous spark. Now that sister's awake, shall we continue? His blunt words made me blush deeply, and I struggled to sit up. No way, I still have to go to work today. I've already taken care of your leave for you, he said, lowering his head to kiss the shell of my ear with a tone that carried an unmistakable, domineering authority. I was so stunned by his move that I couldn't say a word. In my heart, I couldn't help but sigh. Is this what a young college student is like? He really has amazing stamina. His slender fingers deftly unfastened the buttons of my pajamas, one by one, as if handling a precious work of art. His intense gaze made my heart race, and my body gradually grew softer and more relaxed. He sensed my relaxation, a triumphant smile curling at the corner of his lips, and lowered his head to kiss my lips. His kiss was dominant and passionate, almost as if he were trying to melt me into his fervor. I was so dizzy from his kiss that I could only weakly cling to his shoulder, letting him do as he pleased. Just then, my phone rang at an inopportune moment. I struggled to get through on the phone. Hello? Xiao Li. What's wrong? Shu Yu. You're fired. I paused for a moment, my tone calm. Why? I'm not really sure about the specific requirements that the partner has raised. Why don't you just come by the company yourself? Hanging up the phone, I glanced at Chiang, who was fast asleep beside me, my heart filled with a mix of emotions. Chiang seemed to notice my movement and opened his eyes groggily, saying, Sister, what's wrong? That fucking company fired me, I said with an annoyed tone. Chiang sat up, her face showing no surprise at all. Instead, she curled her lips into a tender smile. Then I'll take care of you, sister. I couldn't help but burst out laughing. You're a college student. What are you going to use to support me? Yang didn't say a word. He picked up his phone, fiddled with it for a few seconds, and then asked me to take a look at it. You wouldn't believe it until you see it, and then you'll be shocked. 500,000. I widened my eyes suddenly, staring incredulously at the transfer record on my phone screen. Where did you get all this money? Don't worry, big sister, I said I'd take care of you, Yang said, as he pulled me into his arms and gently kissed my forehead. I can't help but exclaim, this must be what it feels like to be supported. So what if the company fired me? I've got a man to rely on. Xi Yang was bustling around in the kitchen, the clatter of spatulas echoing like a cheerful sonata. I was idly scrolling through my phone, yet my peripheral vision kept catching glimpses of the busy figure in the kitchen. Xi Yang, you look so sweet and capable when you're cooking. This is what a house husband is all about, isn't it? I couldn't help but tease. Wise and virtuous. Xi Yang turned around, a mischievous smile curling at the corner of his lips. Is my sister trying to hint at something to me? His burning gaze made me feel a bit flustered. So I quickly changed the subject. By the way, where's your phone? Let me borrow it and play with it for a bit. Xi Yang didn't hesitate at all. He wiped his hands and handed me the phone, saying, the password is your birthday. I took the phone and asked casually, have you cleaned everything out of it yet? Don't let me find something later. When it's discovered. Rensha, we will be punished. Xi Yang's voice was deep and magnetic, tinged with a hint of seductive allure. I pouted, then unlocked his phone. The wallpaper and lock screen were both photos I'd once posted on my WeChat moments. The interface was clean and tidy, there was only one gaming app on it. How boring. I casually tapped on his contact list. Not even a sister. What a lonely, solitary life HES got ahead of him. Who says I don't have a younger sister? Don't I have one right here in front of me? Xi Yang's voice suddenly echoed in my ear, carrying a hint of warm breath. I was startled, and my phone almost fell to the ground. Why did you suddenly lean so close to me? I pushed him away in a panic, yet my heart was racing uncontrollably. Xi Yang looked at me, his gaze profound yet gentle. Because I want to kiss you. I heard a blush unconsciously rising on my cheeks. Alright, I'll stop teasing you. I'm going to get back to cooking. Xi Yang rubbed my hair gently, then turned around and headed back into the kitchen. I looked at his back, and my heart felt as sweet as if it'd eaten honey. I'm happy again. I opened his WeChat and discovered that it'd been pinned to the top of his contacts list, with the traveler wife just the characters. So happy.